Hello everyone and welcome to yet another live stream. We're going to be talking about Perplexity Pro and how it can be used for SEO, but also just wanted to talk about this new feature that they've added, which I absolutely love. This might be a slightly shorter live stream today, just so everyone knows, but we'll see how we get on. Now, there's something called Fusion, I don't even know how to spell Fusion chain prompting. I don't know how many people have actually thought of that, have heard of this. But another way of saying this is also chain of thought prompting. These two methods of kind of prompting are super interesting. It's basically, it's agentic in nature. And I'm going to show how Perplexity have added this in a really cool way. So Perplexity is a powerful AI search engine that can be used for a number of different things. This is supposed to show you the best features of this incredibly powerful tool. This does use Perplexity Pro, just so you know. And also, if you just go on your settings, and I would personally recommend using either 3.5 Sonnet, or you could use Sona Large as well, or Sona Huge, which does seem to work pretty well as well. And they do also have image generation, so they also have Flux 0.1. So we might actually be able to do something cool with this that I haven't even planned to do. But yeah, you want to make sure that you're on these settings and you do have Perplexity Pro. Also, this is pretty cool. I did just notice this as well. This is a new feature that they've added, AI data retention. AI data retention allows Perplexity to use your searches to improve AI models. Turn this setting off if you wish to exclude your data from this process. Okay, so that's not what I thought it was. What it seemed before is that it was remembering things from previous conversations, which is also very interesting. So let's talk about this agentic workflow that they've added. So I'm just going to do something that I did a couple of streams back, where I'm just going to send this prompt here. Can you find real data that could accompany this article? Do not add the data to the article. Just give me interesting data as a summary. Give historical data where possible so it can be used as a comparison. And then I'm just going to grab a random article here. So we'll go to journal and we'll just pick a random article and we will drag down like this. And then we'll do markdown to HTML. Oh, sorry. We'll do paste to markdown. And then we'll send this with it. So I just want to show this in action. This isn't really a method, so to speak, but what it does is it does this really interesting workflow where you can see what it's actually doing is it's using agents, or it's almost an agentic workflow. You might say, oh, this isn't agentic, it's not agents, where are the agents? But if you think about it, it's almost like Perplexity is one agent, and then the creation of the searches, because you can see this is a search on Google, historical data, luxury overcoat sales trends, luxury overcoat market trends history. So it's searching these, but first it needs to create them, then it needs to search them, then it needs to scrape the results, and then it needs to give you a summary. So this is an agentic workflow in that sense, and it's actually using Fusion chain prompting, or not Fusion chain, but chain of thought, because it passes information down each one. This is still actually going, which is a little bit strange. It should have finished by now. Obviously, when I decide to do a stream, it stops working after testing this like 10 times. We'll just try this again quickly. So watch how it actually does the research. It's very interesting to see how it does it. First, it discusses the question, okay? So it discusses the question. Instead of just, if you just put this on chatgpt or whatever, it doesn't discuss the question. Look, it will say, no. I forgot to give it the article. So it didn't even do a search here, so it's literally just, this is made up as far as I know. So I'm just going to say use Bing. And then it just creates one question normally. Oh, they've changed it as well. So it creates one question. This is the search result. These are the 3 search results from this question. So it does, to a certain extent, it does ChatGPT does what Perplexity does, but at a much lower scale, and there's no agentic workflow here. It's just search, results, and then it is an agentic workflow, but it's not fusion chain prompting like Perplexity. So I would say this is a much worse version of Perplexity, to be honest with you. So we can see what it does is it creates 4 different steps to get the information that you need. Then it creates search queries for each of those steps, and it does those searches one by one, and then it finds and scrapes search results. So again, we can see here it's doing the same thing, but with different search results because it has a different goal now. By changing the goal in each step, it allows you to find much more information, much more accurate information, okay? So you might think, what the hell is the point of this? Well, the point is that you're looking to get better results, right? So this is agentic in its nature because it doesn't just do the search or make up the data straight away, which is exactly what ChatGPT did. Like, this could be to a certain extent real, this data here. It could have been real. I'm not going to bother checking, but like, it might not be real, and it's probably just made up, or it might hallucinate or whatever it might be. So that's what ChatGPT does. It just kind of answers the question without necessarily the context of real life responses. And it doesn't just do the search as well. Like, ChatGPT just does the search. Historical data on luxury, outerwear, market trends, materials, and consumer preferences for high-end overcoats 2024. Now, that's not a particularly good search, is it really? Like, you're not going to find the best results doing a search like that. It's much better to do broken up searches, looking for specific pieces of information through specific web searches. This is actually what Harbor does to a certain extent as well. It's not quite as detailed as Perplexity at the moment, but Harbor does do something very similar with its reverse engineering that it does. It basically does a search for 5 competitors. But one of the things it does is it breaks down the keyword that Harbor gives you into a much smaller keyword, and then does like 5 to 6 searches, so that you're not just looking for one keyword, you're looking for a decent amount of information over the internet instead of just one response or one search, which is what ChatGPT does, which is woefully, it's just not good enough, to be honest with you. It's not good enough. I know they're coming out with SearchGPT, obviously, but at the moment, ChatGPT is just simply not good enough for this kind of thing. But yeah, I am thinking of replacing Perplexity and Harbor, and I'm going to talk about why now. So the really annoying thing about Perplexity is that the API is complete trash. It's really, really, really bad. Okay, so this is just the playground. Just look at the difference in response from Perplexity Pro compared to the API. So this is why I'm thinking of removing Perplexity from Harbor and replacing it with my own scraping tool, basically. So it's hard to actually show this in action. Let me just let me do the same search here. So look up twomen.it and find 10 internal links for an article about sneakers. So let's see how Perplexity Pro does this. It says fetching the content of the twomen.it website. That's not how it was supposed to do this. I don't know why it's doing it like this. Okay, it's managed to do it anyway. That was not how it was supposed to do it, but it has managed to do it. So you can see it's found the links here, but if I do the same search in here, you'll see the provided sources do not include information about the website twomen.it or any specific articles related to sneakers on that site. However, it's blah, blah, blah. And it just creates a load of crap. It's almost like it's not even connected to the internet. Like, I don't really know what it's doing. It uses Llama. In my experience, the API of Perplexity is absolutely trash, but the front end of Perplexity is absolutely amazing, which is really, really interesting to me. And it's because of this agentic workflow, which again, I don't want to just always talk about Harbor, but Harbor has agentic workflows in it as well, because we take data from one place, give data to one prompt, which sorts that sends it to another prompt, which then contextualizes that that sends it to, you know, an outline prompt and blah blah blah. So there's this chain of flow or chain of thought process. It's not quite agentic. These two things are very, very close in nature. Agentic normally means that there's, you know, a specific agent. So Perplexity is agentic because there is an agent that creates these questions, most likely, and there's then the agent that does the search, and then there's the agent that does the scraping. What this means is that the average answer is much more accurate when than when you're asking the Perplexity API, because this step-by-step process is known to increase accuracy when it comes to basically any LLM system or any kind of AI. When you start with one prompt, give it another prompt, give it another prompt, give it another prompt, and then give it another prompt, it works much better than just giving it a prompt. Siri, I did not say hi Siri at any time. You're supposed to be on aeroplane mode. So this is really, really important, because these agentic workflows or chain of thought kind of prompting massively increases the accuracy of your results. And that's why I really like Perplexity AI, but I'm not really a big fan of the Perplexity API in the back end of Harbor, for example. I'm not a big fan of it because it just doesn't work massively. So this is proven, as I said before, and as I explained before, by the API versus using Pro. If you don't know, the Perplexity API uses Llama 3.1, and it performs significantly worse than the Pro version of Perplexity. I'm actually, as I said, I'm really close to changing Perplexity for something else, maybe my own system. I actually think I could do a better job, or at least change a couple of things about Perplexity. One thing I don't like about Perplexity is that it can't find links very well. So I'm just going to say use the internet. What it normally does is it does a site, so a search operator search, and then it identifies links, like you can see here. That's what it's done now. Give me a list of the links, please. Faizan said that's what I wanted to hear. Good. I'm not sure what, but it's always nice to know. So one thing I really don't like about Perplexity, and one thing I would recommend that they change immediately, is that there's no way to get the image links from this page. So if I say, can you get me the image links from number 1, please? It doesn't seem to be able to do this. Maybe it will be able to do it this time, but yeah, it doesn't seem to have been able to do it. Yeah, it can't get them. So one thing I would recommend is that they look at Firecrawl, for example, something like that, in order to scrape pages directly. I think that would really, really make Perplexity one of the best tools for doing research and things like that, and also for prepping, you know, content machines or whatever it might be. So that's one thing that I don't really like about Perplexity Pro, but it's almost there. This is particularly powerful because of how powerful agentic workflows actually are. About giving the chain of command to get the best results from LLMs. Yeah, definitely. It's so important to understand that AI will not give a good response 99% of the time on its first prompt. It takes 3, 4, 5 prompts to get really good content, or whatever you're doing, really. It allows AI this thinking and chain prompting and agentic workflows. It mimics reasoning, okay? Because it's like thinking. Reasoning, for me anyway, is defined as understanding problems before trying to solve them. So what it does is it mimics this understanding a problem before trying to solve the problem, which it makes sense that afterwards the end result is going to be even better. Best IPTV HD just said, can you review my website? We probably will do some live SEO audits, but I'm not going to do it today, but we will do some live SEO audits at some point. I think it's really, really important to realize this, this reasoning is probably, the change that OpenAI have made to ChatGPT for, it's called Strawberry, or I think it's also called Q star or something. What is it called? Q something. This is what I believe anyway. Obviously, I'm not partial to any information that other people aren't partial to, but in my opinion, this is the big change that ChatGPT will have made for Strawberry or their next iteration, whatever they call it. I don't think they'll call it GPT-5, but it's this ability to reason before trying to answer the question. One of my biggest criticisms of Claude and ChatGPT is that these AIs, these LLMs, feel the need or have the need, or it's just innately part of their programming to always give a response. Whether they know the answer, whether they don't know the answer, whether it's accurate, whether it's inaccurate, they will always give you an answer. And also, they will always believe you when you say something is correct or incorrect, 99% of the time, which also causes problems, because if what you're giving it is incorrect and you're saying it's correct, then it will believe you over the truth, which is another really, really big issue that it has. So if something like Perplexity or, for example, GPT, Strawberry, managed to crack this issue, that's when LLMs are going to just get ridiculously powerful. When they stop feeling the need or being programmed to always give an answer regardless of the situation, and also to give the first answer that comes up. Hi sir, how to use Perplexity to generate Pinterest and Facebook? I'm not sure what you mean by that, but you can do images, which might be useful, but yeah, I'm not sure about that. Harriet Bamford. You think of Perplexity itself as one agent which formulates questions for the searcher agent to answer, and then the scraping agents scrape key details from the search results. This is the kind of whole workflow of Perplexity. So this is how it works. It reads and interprets the prompt from the user. It generates 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many steps that are needed to complete the task. This is particularly good with programming, by the way, I'll say. Good for programming, because it looks for all of the latest APIs, all of the latest documentation, all of the latest everything, and then it starts to code instead of just coding with old knowledge, bad knowledge, incorrect knowledge, made up knowledge, which is kind of what ChatGPT and Claude do if you don't give it the right documentation. It then generates questions or research topics in each task, and doing so at several points, and then it answers each question one by one, and then it consolidates all of that information with a consolidation prompt, which is pretty much exactly what fusion chain prompting is. Well, fusion chain prompting is 3 levels because it uses different LLMs to ask the same question. But if you just get rid of the first, if you get rid of all of them except the first one on here, on this image, then this is kind of what Perplexity is doing. So not the Claude and not the Google, just the ChatGPT or just the Google. This is what Perplexity is doing, and the results are really, really good. This is called fusion chain prompting, and is a huge. It's not really fusion chain prompting, but whatever. It's very, very similar, and it's chain of thought prompting, and it's a huge improvement on the original concept behind Perplexity, which was to do a fairly useless Google search, kind of like ChatGPT is doing now. This was like the old version of Perplexity here, where it just does a shitty Google search and a bad scrape. How can we manage chain of commands for best LMM results for automated systems, like auto blog posts? Yeah, I mean, that would take me hours to get into, but Faizan, what I recommend is you think about, you plan the process first, and then you make the process, okay? So think about what needs to be fed to what and when, and then feed all of that to an AI to generate it. That's what I did for Harper, basically. Me and Rowan conceptualized what data needs to be fed to which prompt at which time, and that's how we did it, basically. So yeah, it's a huge improvement on the original concept behind Perplexity, which was to do what ChatGPT still does. The Fusion chain prompting method gives a huge accuracy boost and gives the results a much needed boost in quality, which is why I personally use Perplexity Pro for research steps, unless you have an entire system like Harbor to do it for you. So Harbor does do a lot of what Perplexity does, and soon it will do even more, because I'm going to remove Perplexity, I think, at some point, just because it's kind of annoying, and I would change a few things about it. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much going to be the end of the live stream. Faizan, I wish you luck with the auto-blogging system. I have some on GitHub, by the way, if you want to have a look at some very basic systems that I created. On my public GitHub, there are some examples of auto-bloggers that I've made, but they're not anywhere near what Harbor is, obviously, but they're a very early Harbor, basically, but yeah.
Can we put a link to that in the chat when this is over?
It's just github.com/incomestreamsurfer. It's this one here, probably. It's one of these, I don't know. There's loads. I've got loads of them, guys. It's just, you'll have to look around on my GitHub. There's loads of stuff on there. It's just github.com/incomestreamsurfer. There's some stuff on there for you to have a look at. But yeah, we'll end the stream there, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching this live, you're an absolute legend. If you're watching this at the end of this video, you're also an absolute legend, and I'll see you very, very soon with some more content. Peace out.